Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Naruto Storm. Guys, it's a humble request to please subscribe my channel to support me, and also you will get latest update whenever I upload my video. So friend, today you are watching the second episode of the series What If Naruto Lives a Life of Ninja. So now my friend Alexander will tell you the story of episode 2.
While her genin squad trailed behind her, Kurenai entered the Hokage's office without any fear. Okay, so she was quite nervous. Uncertain about the cause. Or at least, she was unable to identify a specific cause. Perhaps the lack of knowledge was to blame. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki, the crazy rumor mill that was going around him, was absurd.
It appears that he was open about being a live sacrifice. He openly displayed it, taking the name, Demon. Having a reputation for being a street tough who didn't mind fighting against opponents who were much older or more skilled than himself. She is aware of the rumors that the boy killed a newly minted chunin in half about a year ago. Apparently the guy had gotten a little too physical with lady of the night when she refused to give him service. Naruto hadn't taken too kindly to the rough treatment and made the guy swallow his own teeth.
Usually that should speak to some kind of prodigy-like skill. But if the rumors are true, it's less impressive to knock around a newly minted chunin who's blitz out of their mind. Of course she couldn't confirm the validity of such rumors, but they had been too many witnesses to simply dismiss it outright. So the rumors persisted despite how they seemed to have been swept under the rug. A part of her could forgive such a brutal attack. Yes, the woman had been of ill repute, but that didn't mean the poor woman deserves to be raped. There was no excuse for a trained ninja to assault a helpless civilian. In fact, she would have probably rearranged the creep's face herself if she had witnessed the foul act. However, rumors like that were causing her to feel some anxiety as she finally made it in front of the door to the Hokage's office. Looking over her shoulder, she gave a reassuring smile to her genin who stood in a filed line behind herself. Her smile was reciprocated with a bored expression, a tentative smile a wall of emotional nothingness. Turning around, she reached up and knocked on the door's oaken surface. She had some reservations on taking on the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, but she would trust in the Hokage. She just had to be prepared to protect her precious genin if Naruto proved to be as brutal as they say. Come in. The Hokage's voice ordered from within. With only a imperceptible steadying breath, she walked into the office, a kind smile on her face. Naruto was leaning close over the desk whispering something to the Hokage. Before she could catch anything he was whispering to the cage, the boy pulled back, turning to face her leaning back against the grand desk, folding his arms over his chest. Her eyes were instantly drawn to the crescent-shaped scar that ran from his temple to his chin. It looked like someone had split his head open at one point. She was able to look away before she committed some kind of faux pas. Instead, she took in his face more generally. His eyes were showing his obvious boredom with the world around him, or perhaps it was the situation. His mouth was quirked up at one corner, giving a cocksure air about him. He seemed to look her over too before passing over her to look over her students, who moved to stand by her side as they entered the room. Jonin Yuhi. This is Genin Uzumaki. I'm officially turning him as a Konoha ninja over to your care. You'll serve as his sensei for a week until he's transferred to a new team. Hiruzen turned the blonde over to her in official capacity. The village leader grabbed a small scroll on his desk before tossing it to the genjutsu specialist, who caught it effortlessly. His profile. Please review it at your leisure. With the formalities out of the way, the Hokage's serious visage melted into that of a caring grandfather. Kurenai's own features relax. She slipped the scroll in a pouch at her waist for later.
I'll do my best to be an exemplary sensei for Naruto, she declared to her leader, bending at the waist in a deep respectful bow.
Turning to Naruto, who still had that bored but amused air about him, she didn't let her smile slip. I look forward to imparting whatever knowledge and experience I can during our time together, Naruto. She gave the genin a more subdued bow, more just a tilting down of her head than anything. Naruto didn't bother saying anything. He simply tilted his head slightly as he looked up into her eyes. For a moment an awkward tension grew between the two before it was cut through by a cough from Hiruzen. Naruto looked back at the Hokage, sighing at the hard look the man was giving him. Turning back to Kurenai, he gave the woman a large smile that looked more like an awkward stretching of his mouth than anything. Ditto. The obviously fake smile dropped after his one-word reply. Wishing to avoid another awkward tension, Kurenai pressed on. Okay, great. I think we should get to a training grounds I have reserved. I'd like to gauge your skill so we can figure out what aspects of ninja arts you'll need help with. By your leave, Hokage. She finished, looking up to her leader for permission. The Hokage gave his Jonin a reassuring smile with a nod of acquiescence.
Okay, Team 8, let's file out. As she walked out of the room, her genin trailed behind her. Looking over her shoulder, she caught the Hokage toss a pair of goggles to the Jinchuriki. Not seeing any reason to question the eye gear, she turned forward, continuing her march to the training grounds.
4 genin sat on a felled tree trunk in a training ground within the village of Konohagakure. A jonin in a flamboyant dress that was designed to be a distraction on the battlefield stood in front of them, her fist on her hips, a smile on her face. So, I think we should get introduction out of the way. Then we can move on to a spar to gauge your level, Naruto. She said, looking to the right most of her genin, silently signaling for them to begin. Hinata Hyuga suppressed a squeak as her sensei's ruby eyes fell on her. Tentatively she looked at the boy sitting furthest from herself. She looked away quickly as the boy was staring at her with a bored, expectant gaze. She leaned back a little so that her teammate, Shino Abarame's larger frame, would obscure her from the blonde. Hinata felt a knot of anxiety twist in her gut as she thought of what to say. Taking a steadying breath, she figured she could simply repeat the introduction she gave on her first day of being on Team 8.
My name is Hinata Hyuga. I like flowers and, pressing them. I like to cook, but I'm not really good at it. I, don't like bullies. My dream for the future is to become the head of my clan and unite the 2 houses.
She dared to peek past her teammate to gauge her new teammate's reaction. She couldn't hold back a frown as she took in his unchanged expression. Shino, seeing as he was next in line, took initiative and began his own introduction. He turned his head to look at the new temporary member of Team 8. My name is Shino Abarame. I enjoy training with my family's Kakaichu techniques. I dislike anyone who kills insects. Why? Because they are an important part of any ecosystem and are often harmless to humans. Killing them does nothing for anyone and is illogical. I too wish to become head of my clan. He pushed his round sunglasses up the bridge of his nose to ensure they were properly in place. I get that. But if I see a spider in my room, it's going to get really acquainted with the bottom of my sandal. Naruto commented with a smirk. Naruto's smirk fell slightly as the teen just stared at him unflinchingly. His high collar and dark shades giving away absolutely nothing of what the teen thought of his comment. For a long moment the air began to grow awkward as the 2 boys just stared at one another. The moment ended as Kiba Inuzuka butted in, starting his own introduction. Well, anyway, I am Kiba. And this is Akumaru. Kiba introduced himself and the little white and brown dog that sat on top of his head. Bark asterisk, Akumaru introduced himself, panting happily.
If you like dogs, then we'll get along fine. I'm going to be the most badass ninja in the village one day, even stronger than the Hokage, just watch me. He finished with a toothy grin.
Naruto's amused smirk grew as he heard the Inuzuka's intro. He had dealings with many Inuzuka in the past. The clan was full of party animals who liked to celebrate successful mission with drinking, smoking and fucking. Not necessarily in that order. Naruto reached out a hand to Kiba, who took it with enthusiasm after a moment of surprise. I love dogs. Kiba and Naruto shared a quick, firm handshake. Kiba smiled wildly at the blonde, already liking the idea of having him on his team. Naruto stood from his seat, walking up next to his temporary sensei, causing Kurenai to lift a delicate brow. Naruto looked at the quartet sighting in front of him, trying to smile in an endearing way. He briefly adjusted the black goggles that sat on his forehead before starting his introduction. Hey. Name's Naruto. Bet you guys are wondering what the hell I'm doing on this team, or just what my whole deal is. Kurenai looked worriedly down at the teen, wondering if he was just going to come out and say it. She knew he didn't hide his status in public, but she doubted her genin, all sheltered clan heirs, knew of the truth. The Hokage hadn't told her to keep it from her students, so she held back on the urge to tell him to stop. It's a secret for the most part, to tell you the truth. One of those if I told you I'd have to kill you kind of secrets. What I can tell you is that I got something that makes me an asset to the village. You have a bloodline limit. Shino interjected, making it sound more of a statement than a question. Naruto pointed to the bug user, smiling with a nod of the head, not verbally confirming the teen deduction. So anyway, yeah, so I got to learn how to be a ninja so I'm not a wasted asset. The three seemed to accept the explanation easily enough. Moving past that, I look forward to working with you lot, and hope we can work well with each other. He finished, his smile never leaving his face. With a nod to Kurenai, he walked back to his spot on the tree trunk. If anyone realized he sidestepped talking about himself or his dream for the future, they didn't make a comment on it. Alright. Kurenai called the attention back to herself. I think it would help me figure out where you stand by observing you in a fight. As we don't have very long together, I think it'd be best to focus on one aspect of your skills. I've decided that we'll be focusing on your taijutsu. So you'll be sparring with Kiba today. Kiba is the team's most skilled in taijutsu, so he should be able to help us figure out where you stand. The two boys shared a competitive smile at the news. Okay, let's begin. Please come to the center of the field, you two. Naruto and Kiba stood a couple yards from each other. Kurenai stood between the two, her hand held up in the air. Ready. She began the signal to start the spar. Naruto pulled down the circular goggles covering his eyes. Kiba crouched low to the floor, nearly going on all fours. He had left Akumaru on the sidelines, seeing as this was a purely taijutsu fight between two combatants. Go. Kurenai called for the start, her hand chopping through the air before she jumped back out of range. Kiba wasted no time, pushing off the ground like a sprinter, rapidly eating up the space between himself and Naruto. Naruto stood still, one hand in his pockets as he waited for Kiba to reach him. Kiba swiped forward with his right hand as he got into the blonde's guard. Naruto spun to the left, avoiding the claw-like strike, spinning on his heels to pull the swift dodge off. Before Kiba could change his momentum and turn to pursue Naruto, the blonde grabbed the fur-lined hood of his jacket. Kiba choked as Naruto stomped forward, pulling hard on the hood of the jacket. Kiba's back met the ground harshly as he was yanked backwards off his feet. His eyes widened as he saw a fist headed for his face. Thinking quickly, he shoved against the ground with his legs. He was able to push his back against the ground, sliding out of the way, luckily breaking the hold Naruto had on his jacket. Naruto's fist still met the ground with a loud thud, tearing up a good divot of grass. Kiba quickly flipped up from his position on his back, jumping back to put some distance between them. Kiba observed the blonde across, standing a bit away from him. Did his whisker marks get thicker? Before Kiba could think on the odd cosmetic change, it was Naruto's turn to go on the offensive. Naruto dashed towards him, leaping up as he got close. He turned the leap into a powerful flying knee. Kiba dodged underneath the attack, turning to snap a kick at Naruto, but he was too late as the blonde had landed and spun to block the kick with his forearm. Kiba let the leg fall, spinning around, launching a back heel kick at his opponent's head. Naruto dropped low, sweeping Kiba's back leg. With the only leg keeping him up knocked free, he began to fall. Instead of hitting the ground, Kiba turned the fall into a handstand. Spinning on the palms of his hands, Kiba performed a series of spinning kicks that Naruto blocked with his forearms. Kiba pushed off the ground with his arm, performing a pirouette in the air before landing on his feet. He didn't get a chance to form his guard as Naruto followed up with a palm thrust strike to his sternum that landed solidly. Kiba skidded back across the ground and the force of the blow knocked the wind from his lungs. He was just able to stay on his feet but didn't have a chance to recover as Naruto capitalized on the hit, aiming a roundhouse kick at Kiba's head. Kiba brought his arms up. He blocked the kick, pushing the leg away as he hopped back to get some room and catch his breath. Kiba drew in gulps of air as he caught the breath that had been knocked out of him. Naruto hit incredibly hard. If he checked, he was certain there was a bruise forming on his chest from the hit. Despite receiving the first and so far only hit of the fight, his face was stretched in a satisfied smirk. Looking at the blonde's face, he could tell Naruto was enjoying the fight just as much as him. Not bad, you hit harder than my mom. Naruto raised a brow at the comment on his skill. Kind of a weird compliment, but I'll take it, Naruto said, getting in a ready stance. You would if you knew my mom. Kiba got into his own stance. There was a moment where the two waited for the other to attack. As if signaled, the two suddenly flew at each other. With a clash, their legs met in a cross as they cancelled out each other's opening kicks. They disengaged, taking a step back. Naruto was the first to strike, releasing a punch towards the same spot he'd already hit Kiba. Kiba was able to grab the incoming fist, also catching the follow-up punch that was aimed at his face. Kiba smirked as he now held both Naruto's fist. The blonde was at a disadvantage with his arms crossed over each other, held in place. Kiba smirked as he prepared to sweep the blonde's legs and bring him to the ground. Naruto smirked back.
Kiba cried out as Naruto's forehead met the soft cartilage of his nose with a crack and a spray of blood. Releasing his hold on Naruto, he fell back onto his butt, clutching at his clearly broken nose.
Son of a bitch! Kiba cried out as he tried to staunch the blood flow.
Okay, I'm calling it here, Kurenai announced as she walked into the arena.
Naruto walked up to the downed Kiba holding out a hand. Kiba blinked away some tears, grabbing the offered hand and letting himself to be hauled up. Naruto grin looked sheepish as he dusted Kiba's back with his hand, knocking off grass and dirt. Sorry bout that, Kiba, might have gotten carried away some. Kiba, not the least bit resentful, gave the blonde a bloody smile. Are you kidding me? That was a good move, I'm definitely stealing it. The two boys shared a laugh as Kurenai came to stand before the two, a bemused smile on her face. Boys will be boys. She grabbed Kiba's head, turning it so she could get a better look at the injury. With a sigh, she reached up and reset the break with a crack. Fuck. Kiba ripped his head away, putting a delicate but protective hand over it, looking up at his sensei with indignation. You could have warned me, sensei, Kiba complained, turning his glare on Naruto, who chuckled at his expense. Kurenai winced apologetically down at her student. It's better to do it without warning so you don't flinch away, she explained calmly, causing Kiba to calm down, now understanding her actions despite not enjoying them. Are you okay, Kiba? Hinata asked Kiba. Akumaru clutched in her arms like someone might hold a stuffed animal. Yeah, I'm good. Naruto just took me by surprise is all. Naruto laughed at his cop-out, pulling his goggles from his eyes, setting them back on his forehead. Shino stepped forward, joining the group. I believe Naruto intentionally let his strikes to be caught to draw Kiba in to deliver a more devastating hit. Why? Because Naruto is obviously more physically stronger but couldn't land a hit on Kiba, who used his superior speed to keep out of Naruto's range. By letting himself be caught, Naruto was able to get within striking distance to utilize his strength to end the fight. Naruto shrugged and nodded at the explanation. Yeah, pretty much. Naruto confirmed the bug user's deduction. Kurenai nodded, approving her student's breakdown of the blonde's tactics. Very well put, Shino. You seem to be self-aware of your strengths and weaknesses, Naruto, and have a good amount of skill at dictating the flow of a fight to better utilize your strengths. It's very impressive for someone with no training. Naruto rubbed at the back of his neck. Well, thanks, ma'am. However, she continued, making the blonde genin look up at her. Your lack of training is obvious when up against a ninja trained in a taijutsu. You seem to lack any knowledge of tekkieks or fighting styles. You instead seem to string together random moves as you try to get in close to your opponent. Naruto nodded along, not disagreeing with any of her points. If you had more of a base in any taijutsu style, you could have capitalized on openings in a fight to end it more quickly. I think this is what we're going to be working on this with you during our week together. Sounds like a plan. Naruto agreed easily. Great. I think this will be enough for today. We'll be doing some missions tomorrow, followed by some training. Meet here at 800 hours tomorrow. Team 8 dismissed. With the dismissal from their sensei, Team 8 started to disband for the day. Shino simply walked off. Hinata followed with a quiet farewell to Naruto and Kiba. Kurenai left with a body flicker after instructing Kiba to swing by the hospital to get his nose healed. Now alone, Naruto turned to Kiba, a smile on his face. Hey, Kiba? Kiba turned from sticking gauze in his nostrils. Sup? Naruto stepped up to the other boy standing in front of him, his arms crossed over his chest. After you get your nose fixed, you should come over to my place. We can celebrate a good fight with a couple drinks, maybe play a game of cards? Kiba's brow furrowed at the offer. You drink? Naruto looked at him like he was confused by the question. Yeah. You don't? Kiba felt some heat rise to his face for a reason he didn't understand. Suddenly it became very important to him that Naruto didn't know he's never touched a drop of alcohol in his life. Yeah. PSSH, I drink all the time. Naruto rubbed at his nose to hide his smirk. Cool, then you should come over. Here. Naruto finished, reaching into his pocket, pulling out a scrap of paper with his address scribbled on its surface. Kiba accepted the paper, not finding it odd that the blonde would carry around his address in his pocket. Swing by once you get fixed up, Naruto said over his shoulder as he started to walk away. Naruto was at the edge of the training grounds when Kiba finally gathered himself. He quickly stuffed the paper into his own pocket, calling out to the blonde. "I'll be there." Kiba took a deep breath through his recently fixed nose. Gathering his confidence, he reached up and knocked on the door to the address he had been given. The apartment complex was in a part of town he hardly went to. The exterior looking poorly maintained, the surroundings looking rather shabby if he was honest. He stood straighter as the door was unlocked from the inside. It opened to show Naruto, who smiled upon seeing who it was. "Kiba. Where's your dog?" Naruto greeted the boy, looking around Kiba's feet to see if the little dog was running around nearby. "He's at home sleeping. He's still a puppy, so he sleeps a lot when he's not playing." Kiba followed Naruto into his apartment as he moved aside to let him in. A quick look around the apartment, Kiba could see it was decently clean but fairly small. The sparse furniture looked old but not broken or gross. Naruto gestured to a couch behind a coffee table in the living room. Kiba took the invitation to sit as Naruto moved to the kitchen. "See your folks out?" Kiba heard some rustling from the kitchen before the blonde came out with a bottle and 2 glasses held in one hand and a wooden box in the other. "Nah, ain't got none. Just me," Naruto said, pulling up a wooden chair to sit across from him, the coffee table between them. "Oh, sorry, you're good." Naruto cut off his apology. Putting the glasses down, one in front of himself and one in front of Kiba, Naruto set down the wooden box. Naruto unscrewed the metal cap of the bottle. He held the bottle towards Kiba. "Shochu?" Naruto offered the alcoholic beverage. Kiba gulped, slightly nodding. Sure. Love it." With a knowing smile, Naruto poured a few fingers worth into the glass in front of Kiba. He then poured the same amount into his own glass. Picking up his glass, Naruto held it out towards Kiba. "Cheers." Kiba clinked the edge of his glass against Naruto's. "Cheers," he called back. Naruto brought his glass to his lips, taking a sizable gulp of the drink. Kiba parroted the blonde, taking an equally large gulp. Kiba's eyes went wide as the mouthful of alcohol burned down his throat like acid. He broke into a coughing fit once the gulp passed to his esophagus. Naruto held back a laugh at the teen as Kiba reined in his adverse reaction to the alcohol. "You okay?" Naruto asked, taking another gulp of his drink. "Oh yeah, I'm good. Cough. Just went down the wrong pipe a little," he bluffed, taking a much smaller sip of the drink, suppressing a shudder as it burned its way down his throat. Kiba gestured to the box that sat on the table in front of Naruto. "So what's up with the box?" Naruto smirked. Reaching forward, he turned the box to be facing Kiba, opening the lid of the box to show the contents to the Inuzuka. Kiba's brow furrowed in confusion as he looked at the contents. It seemed to be filled with little pills of several different colors. They were all the same size, around that of a ninja soldier pill. On the many little tablets' faces were little designs pressed into them. Some had kunai, others were shuriken, a few even had the Leaf Village insignia. "You like to party?" Naruto asked, his smirk growing as Kiba's eyes never left looking at the stash of pills. Kiba turned an unsure smile up at the blonde, before taking a sizable gulp of his drink for courage. "I'm a party animal." Naruto's smirk only grew at his answer.